Is ready? So for those of you that have not met me yet, I am Jay Franco. And, apart from telling you all the great and wonderful things about me, I'm going to give you a quick 3-second scan through a slide so you can know all about me, because I'm really here to pour into you today. And I think that's the most important thing. Today, we're going to be conversion minded. By the end of my session, you're going to think differently about your business, and I want you to understand that growth needs conversion. If you don't have conversion, you can't have growth. So yes, a little bit about me. I'm from a little town in Brownsville, Texas. I am from the South. I am Latina, so back over there, we always speak Spanish. But I moved up here when I was maybe like 18 years old, didn't know what I was gonna do when I grew up. And I had told my mom that I want to be an artist. And she's like, girl, you're gonna be broke. So then I ended up beating faces for a living. I became a makeup artist, and I was an artist in a way. Fast forward to now, and it's so exciting to understand God's gifts for you and your experience. So one of the things that I want you to keep in mind as you move forward in your growth journey today, what are the things that you did in the past? Because your past leaves keys and cues to success of your future. And so I want to make sure that you understand that anything that you've had in the past, those are just keys to success. Go back and look at those clues. For me, I didn't know. I didn't know that, me being a makeup artist was going to help me better market the beauty industry. I didn't know that when I was an insurance agent, I didn't know that was going to be my ideal client. I didn't know that all of the things that I did in the past were going to be how I help others, because I got the insight, the actual insight to be able to market my ideal client better. So today I want to ask you a question. If we can get it to work. What's in it for me today? Today I want you to ask yourself, what's in it for me? A lot of you are going to hear a lot of speakers today. You're going to get inspired. You're going to get motivated. You're going to feel all the feel goods inside. And one of the things that I want you to think about is when we leave, sometimes we get in the car, we're like, man, that was awesome. Man, that was a great day. Tomorrow, you'll be like, man, Lori's Growth Summit was amazing. But if you don't take action, you won't see growth. So it's so important for you to ask yourself, what is in it for me? What am I here to do? So today, I want to also give you some tools. I want to give you the keys to success. I want you to be able to get in the car and not just drive it. I want you to know your destination, but also have the keys to turn on the ignition, because it's so important for you to understand that when you turn the ignition, when you put your foot on the pedal, that is action. Because if you sit there in your car, how many of you guys sit in your car when you get home from work? Or, yeah, I love sitting in my car. But what do? Isn't it one of the best times to just sit there and just have a moment to yourself and go back and just really breathe? And you're like, yeah, okay, just kind of simmer in all the things that happen throughout the day. So I don't want you to get in a car and sit there. I want you to actually turn the keys on and turn the ignition. That's why today it's so important to understand these things. So we just kind of got out of a really huge growth wave. The pandemic actually pivoted and plummeted a lot of businesses forward. It was so easy for us to put a post and everyone on social bought whatever we were selling or joined whatever we did. Or we had 1 million comments on our live, right? It was so easy to go live because here's the thing. We had the undivided attention of everyone. And what was everyone doing? They were on their phones. Why? Because they were bored at home and they probably didn't want to speak to their husbands or their kids who were really annoying. So they would go to the restroom or chill out in the closet or do something. And what were you doing? Or even on the couch, just sit there and scroll. And you had complete attention of everyone because the world stood still. And now, coming out of that year of growth, we are feeling what we think is a recession. However, it is just the sales cycle normalizing again. Because we were in such a high and now things are kind of normalizing, we see the same kind of curve that you typically see in a recession. But that's the thing. I want you to understand that it's not. So there is still possibility for growth. So a lot of times, I want you to remember two things. The pandemic did two things. The pandemic made us lazy. It did. Because it was so easy for us to just throw something out on social and everybody buys. One of my clients, she threw up her boot camp and she made $38,000 that month. The second month she did, I think, $40,000 something. It was so easy for her to just throw something up. So after the pandemic, she came to me and she's like, why am I not selling anything? And I'm like, girl, you're being lazy. I'm like, you're just sitting there posting and you're not interacting with your people. You're not having relationships. You're not curating relationships with your audience. You think people are just gonna buy just because you're cute. And I was like, come on, it's just not gonna happen. So, right now we're in a time where we have to think differently about our marketing and in everything that we do. We have to be avid doers, testers, and we have to go out and create relationships with our audience. That's the only way that we're gonna hold their attention, because we no longer have it. So, for those of you, how many of you here know that social media is really important for your business? The whole room. How many of you that raise your hands are doing social media? Okay, how many of you guys know what you're doing? Dang, that got slim. They got really slim. So I'm here to empower you today so you can start thinking about the way that you do social media. So one of the things that I found, research shows that 96% of business owners understand that social media truly works. I can tell you right now that it works. I'm proof that it works for myself, for my clients. When we post things, we post with conversion mind. Always, we think of conversion first. We think about what is the buyer journey. We think about, what's in it for the audience as well. If you're posting, how many of you guys are posting and not getting anything? So if you're posting and you're not getting anything, there's a reason why. And I'm gonna tell you in a minute. So 7 out of 10 business owners, they agree that they're underutilizing data. How many of you guys post and avidly look at your data? Very few of you. So data gives you numbers. Numbers are facts. And facts and the numbers, they tell stories. So if you can't go back, if you don't ever take the time to go back and look at your data, you're not reading what is going on. How will you know that your efforts and anything that you do in your marketing is working if you're not looking at the numbers? So keep that in mind, that we have to look at numbers because the numbers tell facts, and facts allow us to get the real story behind stuff. Now, when you have these numbers, there's another thing that you need to do. If you don't tie your business goals to what you're doing, every single thing that you do in your marketing, whether it's social media efforts, whether it's a post that you send out, whether an email that you send out, if you're just sending emails for the sake of the fact that you have to do a newsletter, but you didn't tie it back to your business goal, you're not going to get the growth and the result that you're looking for. So I want you to keep this in mind today. Look at your business goals. How many of you guys know exactly how much revenue you want to make this year? Okay, nice. Half of you do and half of you don't. How many of you guys know and have it? How many of you guys have broken it down by quarter? How many of you guys know exactly what your month projection is right now? And how many leads do you need to get there? How many conversions? Man, they keep going up and down, up and down. That's why we played that song in the beginning. I was just, making sure you got a little exercise in. So it's so important for you to tie your business goals to everything that you do. Your business goals are like the compass. If you want to make 6 figures this year, if you want to hit $100,000, how am I going to get there? What is it going to take? What am I going to sell? A lot of times we know what we're selling, and we haven't tested the offer. I have clients that have come to me before they signed up with me, and they had offers, but they had never tested the offer. They have never validated the fact, will it fly? Is this for my audience? A lot of times you need to pivot and say, okay, this is my offer, but that was not the right audience. So maybe you need to find a different audience for that same offer. A lot of times you have to go back and readjust the offer because it wasn't hitting correctly. It wasn't what people want. You're creating products that you like or that you got excited about. How many of you guys get excited every time you get an idea and you're like, oh, I'm gonna put that to market? I do it too. It's okay. Don't worry. I do it a lot. But what I can tell you is that a lot of times we do things from the fact that, this is going to work because, you think this is your baby. And then when it doesn't fly and it falls flat on the floor, you're like, man, was it me? Was it the product? And so you get really discouraged. And I want you to keep this in mind. Don't get discouraged. I want you to test and be flexible and be agile. So keeping those business goals in mind are so important. Knowing your revenue, knowing your profit goals. How many of you guys know your profit margin from last year, for those of you that are business owners? Very few of you guys know what your profit margin is. How do you know that you can take money home? How do you know your business is being profitable? How do you know that the expenses that the business is incurring minus the revenue that came in is what you have left over? Profit margin is so important. And you're knowing your business expenses, not hiring. I've been through it. Look, I've been a business owner since 2015, guys. Even I sometimes put my head like a little ostrich in the hole. And I'm like, we're doing great. We're hiring. And then we forgot to forecast that, this summer was going to be one of the, slumpiest summers ever. It happens. But the thing is that when you really understand your numbers and you really understand your goals, and then you can understand how conversion works. You can go back, pivot, test, and relaunch something and make it work for you. So some of the biggest mistakes that I see right now in the industry is we have really big, lofty goals. How many of you guys, are new to business and we're like, I'm gonna make six figures this year? How many of you guys have said that? I've said it, I've been there. And then you're like, yeah, put it on your vision board. But you have no way of breaking it down or knowing what it is, right? Or how are you even gonna get there? So some of us have really big, lofty goals. It's really important to be realistic here. We've gotta be realistic. If this is your first year in business, that might not be the goal that you wanna hit this year. Another thing that I see all the time is social that doesn't convert. How many of you guys post quotes on social media? Okay, not a lot of you. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Because I keep hearing all the time, as a girl, post Inspirational Monday and Motivation Monday and Throwback Thursday. But when you think about it, remember we're talking about goals and business goals. How do any of those kind of posts relate to your business goals, right? Nothing. They have nothing to do. My girlfriend here, she's heard me say that a million times, they've got nothing to do with your business. So how will you convert someone if you're posting pictures of your food, another selfie, a quote from someone else that doesn't build your thought leadership, right? Or anything else other than things that are directly tied to your business goals. Another thing that I see is that there's no buyer journey. You have to analyze from the minute of okay, this is my ideal client. How do they get to me? Or how do they get to my high ticket offer? How do they get to my business? How do they get to know who I am and know that I am their solution that they're looking for? It's so important. Some of you guys haven't sat there and actually thought about that next step and the next step and the next step. So it's really important for you to understand that if you are not converting, it's because you don't have a clear and defined buyer journey. There's no buyer journey. So if there's no buyer journey, there's no immediate path to profit. And so another thing that I see is that efforts are scattered. I'm in a 7-figure mastermind with these 2 amazing women. And last year was really hard for us. Even though I made $25,000 more in my business than the last year, and even though I hit, my revenue goal, it was really hard. And one of the reasons why is what I told you guys. I too myself was a little bit of a victim of the fact that let's just post and, things are gonna convert. I had gotten really complacent in my business to where I wasn't reaching out to people, I wasn't DMing. And it's so funny because when I first got one of my very first jobs, I worked at Converges. And I worked as a AT&T, I was selling AT&T long distance to people. That was a long time ago when we had landlines. How many of you guys remember that? And I remember the feeling of being 19 years old, getting on the phone with my little headset on. And I'm like, I'm gonna do this. And so I would close everybody left and right. I was so good, I was fearless. They were like, no, not right now, no, not right now, no, not right now. And I was like, well, let me tell you about this. Well, let me tell you about that. And one of the best things that I learned being at Converges is that we need to be more fearless. How many of you guys get a no right away and you're like, okay, man, not good enough. And that's when we allow imposter syndrome to creep up on us and take over. And so in that mastermind, one of my girlfriends, I was struggling a little bit, but nothing compared to her. I was just struggling just because I was being lazy, quite honestly. Because again, coming from someone who, was fearless and, if you told me no, not right now, well, let me tell you about this. Well, and it was so normal, right, for me to do that. But I got to a point in my life where I like things to come in, no outbound, right? So you start getting really complacent. Well, she hadn't had any sales in months. And you're talking about someone who's already made 6-7 figures. And I'm like, how is that happening? And so one of the things that I noticed and that I told her, I was like, Angelica, here's what I've noticed in the year that we've been in our mastermind. You start with one coach, you start doing something, and you don't finish it. You do something else, someone else gives you a shiny object, and then you go chase after that shiny object. Once you have the shiny object, you're like a baby. You're like, I don't want that one, I want the other one. It's like my 2 dogs, Nala and Fifi. If Fifi picks up something, if Nala picks up something, there goes Fifi try to get it. But every time that Nala picks something else up, Fifi goes after her and goes try to get it. And so that's what it reminded me of, that Angelica was doing the same thing. When your efforts are scattered, you're not going to hit that growth that you're looking for. You're not going to make it in business. So business goals need to be broken down completely into an actionable plan. That's the one thing that I think I've kind of made it a point to let you guys know. You've got to break down all the way down, even to what are you doing today to get the next lead? What are you doing today to follow up? What are you doing today to get that sale today? Marketing and sales are really aligned to your business goals. That's one of the things that you have to keep in mind. Your business goals and marketing and sales shouldn't live separate from each other. Where business goals over there, right? All the business stuff over there, and marketing and sales over here. Marketing and sales have to be aligned and they belong together. And then your content as well. Content is also, I don't know how that happened. Your content is also aligned to everything that you do. How many of you guys post? How many of you guys have been told that not to post about your business and not to sell on your business on social? Because I've had clients come up to me and tell me, well, I was told by someone else, not to do that because, I shouldn't be selling straight up. But if you're not directly correlating that to your business goals, how would you want conversion? How do you get conversion? So it's really important that everything you put on social is aligned to your business goals. And your entire buyer journey is aligned to your business goals. The next step, keeping the end user in mind. What's the next step that I want them to take? And in next step, it's your value ladder. If you look at this example right here, I have a value ladder of an example of like, okay, what's the first step that I want my audience to do? Well, I want them to sign up for something for free. Why? Because once they sign up for free, I'm gonna send them a whole list of emails that share with them who I am, what I do, why should they care to even listen to me, and how I can transform their life. Because I want to develop a relationship with them. And I'm even gonna ask them, hey, reply back to me. One of the things that I like to do on social is when someone follows me, I usually do a quick welcome. And I tell them, thank you so much for following me. Just, pleasantries. Earlier we heard that, just a smile goes a long way. Think of it the same way on social. Thanking someone for following you goes a long way. When was the last time that someone sent you a DM to thank you because you followed them? Man, all of you are like, no. But see, how would you feel if someone actually sent you a personalized message and say, hey, thank you so much for following me. It means a lot to me. Wouldn't that make you feel really special? Wouldn't you also feel like, I want to keep following her? Now you get the audience invested in you. And that's one of the most important things. The next step would be like, hey, they start liking your content, they start commenting. And you're like, you know what? I want to offer you 50% off to this course that I have. Thank you so much for all of your support, your love. You're always participating. You DM them again and you're like, here's 50% off code for this. And guess what? They're like, yes. They're going to take the offer. Why? Not because it's 50% off, but because you're showing them that you genuinely care. You're showing them that they genuinely are someone important. You're treating people like human beings. And so forth and so forth. So how many of you guys have actually mapped out your value ladder? Just like not even a handful. So it's so important for you to understand that when you map out a value ladder, you know exactly how they're going to get to the next step. And you also know how you're going to continue to nurture that relationship. In the agency, because we have our coaching on the side that I do, the coaching and consulting for myself. But on the agency side, my operations manager sends emails all the time to see how our clients are doing, to test the waters and see, okay, are they lukewarm? Are they hot? Are they loving it? Are they not liking it? Some of them, they don't ever contact us because they rely on everything that we do. And they're like, you're great, Jay. Keep doing what you're doing. So they're like, she's an extension of our business. So they don't ever really shout. So we implemented that in our business where my operations manager reaches out to our clients and asks them, how's it going? What would you like to see differently? What can we do for you? Could we interest you in a chatbot? We're going to give that to you for free. Because I think it's time for us to just give you more value, right? It's really important for you to understand that sometimes you have to understand and see where you're going to tap back and reach out. Don't be afraid of reaching out so that you can retain that client, because guess what? When it's time for renewal, that client's going to sign their contract again. And instead of the 6 months, I'm like, hey, if you stay with us on the 12-month plan, we'll give it to you at the current rate that you're still at, because our rates are now this. And they're like, sure, no problem. And that's probably one of the reasons why some of our clients are 3, 4, 5 years old with us, because we do a lot of touch points. We do a lot of touching and caring for people, treating people like human beings. I walked in here, someone tapped me on the back, and it was Sabi, and she's like, I haven't seen you so long. We see each other on social media. But that's the one thing that I told her. I was like, we need to have more time in connecting with each other. Same thing with Jessica Braslington. I was like, I haven't seen you in ages. I haven't seen you in years. And she's like, we need to connect. So imagine the need, the feeling that I got when I saw Jessica, when I'm walking in. I was like, wow, I get to see Jessica today. But that's one of the things that I want to remind you. It's the same thing on social media, except for the fact that we don't really actually touch them and hug them. I got to hug her today, which was really great, because I've not seen her in ages. But that's the thing. It's like creating those micro moments of connection, creating those micro moments of making someone feel super valuable about who they are. It's the same thing on social media. So what are you going to do about it? Are you going to sit there and, be a fat, lazy cat and just let all the stuff come in? And then you're like, that thing converts, Jay. No, we're gonna go out there. And yes, I have an analogy that I tell my students all the time, because in my coaching business, even in my agency, I tell my clients all the time, it's like, we gotta be lions. We're lions. We go and hunt our food. So that means you've gotta go and hunt, right? But for us, hunting is different. It's creating relationships, it's creating touch points, it's creating, special moments. That little special moment that Jessica and I had this morning, believe me, immediately, probably in the next couple of days, hey, sis, when are we going out for coffee? Right? And that's so important. So what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about your business goals, how they're going to tie into your marketing and sales, and how you're going to hit your growth and revenue goals this year? I'm going to show you a case study about this client. I am very brutally honest. So when you come to me, expect that I'm going to be honest with you. I always tell people I'm not Willy Wonka, I don't sugarcoat stuff. If I can get it to go. Okay, there we go. Hopefully I didn't move it too fast. So I want to introduce to you Honeymoons by Vonda. Vonda came to me. Let me show you the power of social media. Vonda I didn't even know, been following me for a while, didn't know. Because she doesn't like my stuff. She doesn't comment on my stuff. She doesn't interact with my stuff. How did I know she was following? I have no clue. She saw something and she decided to join Profitable Marketing Academy. PMA is $17 a month. It's a content club. And you get your captions done for you, you get trainings, you get marketing masterclasses, all that good stuff. So she comes in through there. Inside of the course, there's a book your free content audit. So she booked an audit, and I was like, where is this coming from? The only place I have those link is inside PMA. I was like, who is that? So, when I got her information, I was like, I don't remember seeing her. And I don't remember seeing her as my students either. So she comes in, she books an audit. She gets in there. The audit is for like a week after. And so I start going through all of her content. And I'm like, oh, wow, okay. I can really help this person. She gets on her audit, and of course, I tell her brutally honest, I'm like, sister, can't do that. So she found me through social, she enrolled in Marketing Academy, she booked an agency call, she became a high-ticket agency client. Let me show you why. So when I went on the phone with her, and through her audit, I started telling her, Vonda, what is going on with your social? So, because right before I go into that mode, I ask her questions that ask, who are you? What do you do? What's your experience? Now, from this picture right here, how many of you guys know who David Tutera is? The wedding guy? Yeah. He's like, man, celebrity, right? He's like who everybody goes to because David Tutera is like up here, right? What if I told you that David Tutera asked Vonda to personally work on his team for a project? Would you think does she look like that? Does her social represent that David, she didn't work for David. David personally asked her. Just from looking at the square on her social, would you determine that? No. Would you determine that she is a high-ticket honeymoons and wedding planner? Would you know that she is a destination wedding planner to Mexico and the Caribbean? Would you know that she has over 25 years of experience? Would you know that her ideal client is high-earning professionals? Crazy, right? That's exactly what I saw. Everything you just saw is the same thing that I saw. And I'm like, Vonda, what are we doing here? Why are you posting memes like that? I'm like, happy Friday, let's celebrate small wins. What does that have to do with your business goals? So on the next one, she's talking about Japan and Italy. And I'm like, why are we doing that when you are, you specialize in Mexico and the Caribbean? Why are we sending people to Italy and Paris? So she's like, here, Jay, have my credit card. No joke, she literally said that. She goes, I don't even care how much it costs. Let's just do this right. If I showed you this picture now, would you really, everything that you know now about Vonda, can you see her being a high ticket wedding and honeymoon planner, destination planner in Mexico and the Caribbean? We've got stuff that really speaks to Mexico and the Caribbean. She increased her engagement by 585%. I was like, what? This is great. I love stories like this about my clients because it really helps. Like, it really helps to visualize and show you exactly the power of social media and the power of tying everything you do to your business goals. This is what happens. You have content that is top of funnel, that's super converting. Everything is aligned to your business goals, and everything that you do supports everything in your business. How amazing is it? How many of you guys want that? Yes, where everything supports each other in the business. I can get it to keep clicking. So it's not really magic, So things that are not magical are quotes, your workspace, where you're eating for lunch, and countless selfies. So let's not do that this year, because remember, we're growth-minded, we're conversion-minded, so that we can create the magic that we're really looking for. Ask yourself this. Before you post, does this get me one step closer to my business goals? If you are about to post and click post, and if it doesn't, sister, don't post it. Will it directly support my goals? Does it make my audience aware of who I am, what I sell, how I help them, and how I transform their life, and why I do what I do, and how I do it? Does it give me all of that information? So ask yourself these things. Before you post, ask yourself these questions. Screenshot that, guys. Some of the biggest success stories come from my clients that their audience can easily identify themselves in the content. So make sure that your audience can easily identify themselves in your content, that there's a clear path to conversion, and everything amplifies the next thing that you do. Every effort that you do in your business should amplify the next effort. Make everything count. Your content is aligned with your goals. I've said it over and over throughout the entire presentation. Everything needs to be aligned with your goals. Have a clear value ladder. Optimize every single step of your funnel. Know exactly how they're getting in there and what they're doing to convert. And repeat the system. If it's working, repeat it, duplicate it, test it, make sure it works. Have a really clear system of marketing and sales. So I want to close with this. Remember I told you guys I'm going to give you some keys today? So I have a magic trick today. In my magic trick, you're going to get resources, tools, templates, and VIP access to my next marketing class. And how you do this, if I can get it to work, is I want you to scan the QR code. And I know you're going to do it because my watch is going to keep just doing this the entire time. When you scan it, make sure you type in the word growth. And I've put together a growth kit for you for this year. Some of us are so inspired by the end of the day and we don't take action. But I didn't want to just inspire you. I didn't want to give you information. I didn't want you to just screenshot some of my slides and be like, oh, that was really good. I wanted to give you tools that you can have in your hand. And when you text me the word growth, you're going to receive an ebook. That ebook's going to give you tools and discounts to some of the best SaaS tools in the market. SocialBee, which is one of the tools that we use in our agency to automate all our content. You would never know that I haven't touched my social media in months because we automate everything. Imagine how amazing that would be if you could do that for your business. I'm giving you a lead magnet checklist in there so that you understand how to create that first lead magnet to get people into your funnel. So I'm giving that to you for free as well. Plus, I'm giving you lots of really great discounts inside to some of my courses and my membership offers. And you'll get them for half off. So that is my magic trick that I have that I just pulled out. And that is my gift to you. Keep everything that you do conversion-minded today. Remember, if you want to grow, you have to focus on conversion. Because if you don't, things won't happen. Thank you so much. I'm Jay Franco.